Good day, Zimbabweans in the nation and around the world. Joining us live here on zimai.com. If you're coming in right now, do let us know which part of Zimbabwe you're logging in from or which part of the world it is.
It will make a great impact as a country. I know for sure, from a spiritual perspective, I just do think that God wants to prove something about Zimbabwe because starting to travel, I think last week in the kind of Kanomona, these are the young men. Kanukaka quite sense a battery, repagate, the Magate motor. It powered a whole stove. It powered a whole stove. How can a small battery, how can it light power up a stove? So if that way comes out, tisatanga kuti kumuattack. Saka tinenge tichiuraya zvipo zvinogona kunge zvareleaswa muvanhu. And panzvimbo yekuti tive ma-cheerleaders tiri kuvatrasha. Panzvimbo yekuti patsvagikwe vanhu vanoti uyai tiite rally around these kids. That's why you see like the US, that's why they have Silicon Valley. And when they identify things like this, they pull those kids there and whatever initiative it's scaled up, they try it from different angles. Africa, we are going to remain struggling because of our spirit of just wanting to destroy one another and just, without actually saying, can a fighter light? Think I can say to fan the light so that it can go further. I guess that is my only heart cry, especially for you, for me, a large following. Because they have a big voice, that's the truth. So, if you are narrative, train us to say, look, much as we've heard of this, let the people allow you benefit of now. Let's rally behind him. Let's encourage him. Let's support him. Their technical expertise come alongside him. More negative way, how best can we take him to the next level? I think Tikadaro, our country is going to blossom. I rest my case on Gomasin.
Okay, so Mfundisi, just briefly, in a snapshot, you're telling me, because I knew you from 2008, Muriku Life Ministries, and at that time, I was also providing some piano services to that organization near Prince Edward School, right? And
number 4, Josiah Tongogara.
Okay, so for Josiah Tongogara, yes, that's right. Is that institution still there?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It's just we are just no longer. It's no longer Pana Josiah Tongogara, but move out to Mount Pleasant.
I see. So in this period, you're telling me from '98, you've also known Maxwell Chikumbutso in as much as you've also known me. Isn't that weird?
That is when the second I at the backyard. Trying out things. Do you know what even Kugadzera motor? Because the mechanic, but nobody taught him how to fix cars. He just was. I go fix a motor. I end up apprentice. I don't want to mention out of excitement, but tikasakurira manje.
Mhm.
we are going to gain the best out of it. The heart cry young shit,
Mm.
you know,
Well,
so
yes,
that
yes,
I'm
I just
giving
want to, I just want to briefly introduce to our viewers and listeners here. Our viewers and listeners here, we're joined by a past who just called in. In fact, he's been calling me for some days, and I wasn't sure that it was him. And so his messaging to me has been, look, Simba, you need to you what did you say, by the way? How did you phrase it? Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
we need to be supportive to these young people who comes up with claims of initiatives.
Hmm.
That ndashandisa izwi rekuti kusakurira in short.
Right, right. And yeah, so yeah, Pastor Katsanda has also witnessed. He says that he witnessed some of the tests, the electricity tests in 2015. Was it right? 2015, 2016.
Yes, I mean the one that okay. So 2016,
Mhm.
I went to Max's office in Blufffield. As somebody who always have been praying for him and speaking into his life.
Mhm.
So I went to Blufffield, and that's when he showed me the half megawatt machine, which then I said to him, "Can you power the building whilst I'm here?" And he did that. He powered the unplugged restaurant, he powered the building, and there was electricity.
Mhm.
But then I also said later on, I've forgotten the year, whether it's 2019 or 20, yeah, should be 2019, when an American Foster Gamble came with an engineer, Alonzo Neil. So Foster Gamble and Neil came, and Max took them to Celebration Church where his machine was. And Max invited me to say, "Can you come? Because I've got my visitors who are going to be testing my equipment." So Neil, who is the engineer, he used the heavy payload to test the technology.
Mhm.
What they were testing they were, first of all, they wanted to test if they exposed the machine to a heavy payload, were the batteries going to be depleted? Because according to him, if the battery is depleted, then the claims that he was making would be false. So if you are going to use the if language, so you would say, if the batteries deplete, then the claim that there is an external energy that is coming to power the machine is false. Then the second thing he needed to check was whether there was any external power or a source of power connected to this machine in case the young man was playing games and was getting in Zephyr to try his machine. Then the third thing he also was testing was, does this machine emit any radiation?
Mhm.
So they subjected that machine for testing. I mean, I think it was between 3 and 4 hours of continuous heavy payload.
Mhm.
And when they finished the um, the 4 hours, News went back. He checked on all the batteries, and all the batteries were actually full. None of the batteries were depleted. So according to News, the machine works, and he produced a report that he gave to Foster, because I think News was hired by Foster to come and test the machine and to prove the claim that Max was making. So I would say that that is the first the instance that I would say I witnessed an external person testing and then validating that what Max is claiming is true, because there's no way the batteries would be fully charged if there was no source of power feeding in, and hence he made that claim. So what I'm simply saying is that I saw with my eyes. I'm not saying that I watched the video. I was there. I saw it. I saw them doing the charge. I saw it being tested. And I think this can be validated. Some people for celebration, I think they can validate that. If in case you want to validate what I'm saying, and then of course, remember motikari yake pamtanga yeti a prototype kanga smaller car, blue kaganzi said and so on. That car, I also saw it. I sat in that car. He drove me in that car. Of course, I will not claim that we drove for over 400 kilometers. I will not claim that. But I said he drove that car, and then so basically that's what I'm saying. There is a glimpse of light in what Marx is saying, because I personally saw it. It's difficult to convince me that this whatever Marx is saying is not true, because I've witnessed somebody saying, a Tesla change my battery Joshua hana kupera moto. The batteries are still full up to now, after draining the machines for 3 hours with a heavy payload. So that's what I'm saying. Why don't we give Marx a benefit of a doubt than people actually attacking him and causing all the emotional distress and all these things? If we come together as Zimbabweans, as a family, to say, okay, one of us seems to be saying he has found out this. I've seen people claim that it is relevant, it. I can tell you that this thing is a little bit different, because
it's different from diesel.
No. You can't be associated with diesel, because in somebody flew all the way and he tested, and then he makes a claim. Whatever this young man is saying is true. Even if you watch the Foster's video, you will see how they actually hugged and celebrated, because they had seen some. But let's say for example, let me put it this way. Let me try to be a little bit off the books. Chinhu chake alright, achinzi zviri kungorambwa nevanhu kuti it doesn't do what he claims. But won't we celebrate kuti at least there is an initiative? Can somebody scale it up? I think that is more constructive spirit, rather than saying anyone who touches something, all we know is to criticize. Unfortunately, let me say this: the demon that operates in Zimbabwe, it's a demon of
Rechinya.
We don't want to see Chinya, yes. Something like we don't feel good by somebody's progress. Even if you look at our social media, what we thrive in is character assassination. We pick something that is evil, that's what we run with. Nobody really picks what is good and begin to run with what is good. How do you build a country with such kind of an attitude and spirit? If we cannot celebrate ourselves and rejoice in the small wins that we can have, how do you think we are going to make it in life? I mean, I was giving an example. Countries that are progressive is because when they see a glimpse of a progressive innovation or initiative, they want to put their hands around it until they either scale it up or prove that no, this thing cannot work. But it's just we just go attacking and attacking and attacking. Unfortunately, I really feel bad for my country, because unless God helps us to grow out of this bitter, I don't know where that bitterness comes from. Out of this bitter spirit where whatever somebody claims, we are so bitter about it. There's a way of validating things, and then we could then be able to help the person make good progress. I told him about another young man I am helping. I've been working with this young man for 6 years. Okay, I almost dumped him because he kept on.
Sorry, I think volume ya device.
No, I'm saying that I've been helping another young man.
It's getting better now.
For the past 6 years. For the past 6 years, who was also claiming that I've got my own initiative that's Ramageddon, and I almost dropped him. So for 2 years, for a year, I decided not to speak to him. Last week, he called my pastor, I go, and this young man just uses battery to run a gate, a motor gate. And he is using that with whatever he has come up with, and he is empowering up a whole stove Kolika from a battery repagate. And so if this young man comes on the open, we're going to attack him again. Instead of saying
No, not at all, Monse. No. Ngabuye kana vanhu vakadaro ivavo mufundisi. One thing that you notice about me and also about Zimai is that we promote innovation, and I can show you proof of that. By the way, we promote simplicity. Also, we promote these type of projects. And you notice also, Kuti, even with Maxwell, I don't know if he has told you, my first phone call with him, he will tell you where I was actually asking him, and I was connecting Ndinema emails from 2015, ever since I saw an SABC video when he was talking to Shinga Inyoka. I was emailing him, trying to call him and doing this, and I just couldn't get through. Email, Facebook. It's only this particular time, 3 years ago, that I managed to bump into his phone number, and then I called him. So, and also, I think you can agree with me, Mfundisi. Brilliant Pongo is here. Brilliant Pongo doesn't know me as long as you do. You know me for nearly 30 years, correct? Maybe 26 or so years. Brilliant, I think Itakatanga was under maybe 6 or 7 years, or maybe earlier, maybe, yeah. But my point is, when we're dealing with this young man, I think you can also agree with me, Mfundisi, that I am not. Do I appear to be anti-Christian or to be anti-people? No, tell me, because it's very easy. It's very no, because some people have accused me, have said, "Simba, you are anti." I've heard that before, but also, yeah, but also, Mfundisi, another thing that I wanted to say was that when you look at me, you're one person who knows me from very young age, when I used to play piano for that institution that you were working for here. And you will, I don't know if you will agree how much I value data, detail. So, and Pandanj Pamakamshara Pepe Mfundisi Ndanishtoterra with one ear, I was also listening with the other ear. And then with the third ear, which is my inner ear, I was actually analyzing, I was taking down, I was computing. And what I want to say is, with Maxwell Chikumbutso, maybe it's other people, Varkumu Tuka. Please show me if I have. Kana inini ndaito mnondratizi.
What I've been seeing Twitter. It's horrible. It's horrible. There's a way where you critique. There's a way you critique.
Yes.
To prompt an academic conversation. And then there's insulting and discouraging. And so I'm just saying, those are with the critiquing to promote dialogue and an informed conversation is different.
Yes.
From and things like that. Some of them are very respectable people, which I can't mention by name. But I think we can't squat that too low to say if somebody, because Mkuma Simba, something you have not validated, I think you have very little moral authority to speak about because you actually don't know. Some of the people talk like they've tested this thing and it just doesn't work. Some of us will be looking at it and laughing and saying, I don't know, maybe we were also blinded when they were testing it, but if our eyes were open, I think we saw something. And so that's what I'm simply saying, that as Zimbabweans, engaging into a conversation with facts is very, very critical. Rather than, playing around assumptions and then, you fool yourself with one assumption to say what you know is the ultimate truth, and that is the truth. So my humble appeal to anybody who is, especially those who are like authorities on social media, is that whenever it has something to do with things like this, let's approach it in a manner that either, like what you are saying, you do your own investigation, you try to get some more details, and that's one thing I really have respect for you, because you try to dig out.
You know, ZBC, ZBC,
discover A, B, C, D. Instead of saying, because the commercial is a journalist, left and right, we start criticizing, attacking you, I don't think we'll be building one another.
Brilliant. Yeah. Come in, brilliant. Yeah?
I think I agree with what the pastor is saying in the bulk of what is said. Like I was saying, I was introduced to Maxwell Chikumbutso by I think it was Pastor Ivan Mawarire way back about 7-8 years ago. But he was talking about this guy and saying he's not getting enough publicity for what he is doing. So that's where I got interested in trying to figure out what it was. And that was the time Pangane helicopter ne chimota chidiki che blue chetaru na pasta it. And we're thinking, oh, okay, these are things, they're prototypes, they're there. But I think generally what the Zimbabwean public, seem to find as a gap is that if he's doing something so good, why is the government not buying into it? And why are we not seeing this pushed forward and this young man supported? Because of that lack of support, it then gives this space to those that become authorities, social media influencers and all these people that are on X and posting this, that, and the other. Could try to engage in a discussion that is productive, in a discussion that is supportive, and to distinguish or separate between what is critiquing and just verbal abuse. That's where we are finding it difficult. Most Zimbabweans cannot just critique for the sake of promoting a brand, making it better. So when you offer a critique, you have to say each wadai, but asuka dai, it will improve. None of that happens within the Zim platforms that I've been seeing. It's always to just bash it down, bring it down, shut it down. So ipapo ndo pari kunetsa kuti pataronzi pane dhimoni rechinya iri ndo riri kubata zvakanyanya. So those things are the problems that we have. And because we are such a polarized nation, because Marx has been seen with maybe rubbing shoulders with people that others that are of a political view, yakasiyana nevamwe, when they see that, just because he's associated with some certain people that you don't agree with politically, everything else that he is doing now, you don't agree with. Saka ndo pane problem ya tinayo as Zimbabweans, that we cannot separate political issues from scientific issues, from religious issues. The minute you are seen, Simba, just rubbing shoulders with someone that some may think, well, inandi support because you've just been around people that are ZANU. If you are of an opposition party, you don't want anything to do with that person. You've labeled that person a bad person, ari corrupt, ari chichi. This is the trouble that we have. So if we give and come into every situation with an open mind and question things. We just don't have to accept everything, but we have to question these things. So, my question has always been, yes, I've seen these things, but we've seen them stationary. We've never actually seen a demonstration of these particular things that Marx is coming up with. However, there are people like the pastor that have actually seen this. But to the general population in Zimbabwe, tiri kuti taane makore mangani tichinzwa zvinhu izvi. And then we contrast that with what we have seen before. I remember when I was in high school, there was a man called Barnabas in Bulawayo, Barnabas Sibanda, that it said he's created a helicopter. Akagadzira helicopter. Ainambosumuka helicopter aingotenderera ichingoti kuti 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 ainambosumuka. Then we go fast forward 10 years, whatever later, there's another guy that comes up again with this Zimcopter. So people then put him in that bracket unfairly. They would put him in the same bracket with those because these are the same sort of things that we've
Barnabas
seen.
too. Yeah, Barnabas too. Adzoka.
Yeah, because pakaita Barnabas, pakaita uya. Yeah.
From what you have said, let me respond this way.
Yeah.
I think Marx has tried. Okay. So let me qualify what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
During the First Republic, Marx akatakura motikari yake, akatambura chihafu megawatt chake, akaenda nacho kuState House before President Robert Mugabe.
Oh.
And he showed this to the president.
Come a picture, a picture.
No, wait, let me finish. Because that's what he tells me.
Mm-hmm.
Then the president did put up a team,
Mm-hmm.
okay? A team that was supposed to look at the Marx innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I can confirm it with my own eyes is that for his helicopter, civil aviation,
Mm-hmm.
it actually came to bluffing.
Mm-hmm.
Marx started the helicopter. The helicopter ran over. Marx's helicopter flew, high flyer. But that's what I'm saying. Either the problem is that our institutionalization for how do we engage and manage innovations when they crop up as a government is not clear. So maybe, for example, the Minister of Industry and Trade, for example, with technology, they need a mechanism. When there are things like this, instead of scrutiny and questioning, they actually embrace and test those initiatives. So Marx has tried his best. I remember in one meeting, civil aviation, there's a guy of civil aviation, and Marx started his helicopter, explain everything that is done by that helicopter. And you see, the beauty is this. When Marx is explaining, but so he did the same on the helicopter. He explained this helicopter, it has then you would expect, civil aviation to take it up and step up with it to say, okay, this is those Lemunika. Let us say.
So civil aviation didn't approve of it then.
Sorry?
Civil aviation didn't approve of his helicopter.
I wouldn't say they didn't approve, but from what I know is that from that meeting that we had, it was held, they were going to do some follow-ups. I don't know whether then later on they did any follow-through up with Maxwell or whatever, but that's where it held. You see? So in any way, I'm simply crying because I don't want to be misquoted. What I'm simply crying is that if I am a parent and I see
what's your Twitter handle? What's your Twitter handle, Mfundisi? Because I'm tagging you on this post your typer.
Farai, I think should be. Do I even know it?
Okay. Yeah, Farai Katsanda.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, Mkoba Simba,
I've just reposted
for example, ndine vana vangu handiti. Kana ndine vana, ndikaona mumwe mwana anogona kubatanidza mawaya, handitika. Izvo handinoita, ndinotomutsvagira mamwe mawaya kuti arambe achibatanidza mawaya kusvika asvika kwaarida kuenda. Handiti.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Kana uri mubereki ukaona fanikizwa yaitwa kudhara zvezvo Mkoba Simba kuti ukaonekwa uchiridza gitari kana kuti bhandi sisita kurohwa musoro kuti uda kuita rombe uda kuridza magitari uda kuita rombe you know. Saka zvandikuedza kutsanangura ndezvekuti ngatiitei, handiti kubhora vanoita scouting. Handiti kubhora vanoita scouting.
Yes.
Why don't we scout talent? Why don't we scout talent?
So here's sorry.
Why don't we scout talent and you maximize that scouting of talent and improve it? Because a lot of things are happening in Zimbabwe. I think 3 weeks ago, I was talking to another guy, after designer system to purify. I don't like it. I think because so
right.
is to the petrol and so and nobody's paying attention that's going to move tension. It's constructed in the mind. God deposits and those ideas pops up. Somebody needs to harvest and give and promote.
Mfundisi, you know what? Your line. Pastor, your line yatanga kubreak. I want to try and fast forward so that we can have value before Mama signals Akata. So, how did we get here? In around February, March in 2022, I contacted Maxwell myself. Makai wanna interview and guide.
I may have missed that.
Okay, because apparently I just noticed my interview that I did with Maxwell in February 2022 was not that popular. It didn't get popular. It's in the same way Gold Mafia was not that popular when I was doing it alone in 2015, 2017, 2018. So it wasn't popular at all. And when I interviewed Maxwell, Inini personally, I told him I was actually there to cover progress that Zimbabweans are making. And I'd been looking for him since 2015. And I'm sure he can tell you. I'm going to send you some links. Here is a challenge Iripo with Maxwell. It's in the proof of the pudding. Is this very brilliant? You're more educated than me. What do they say?
The proof is in the eating. So we have to eating,
right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So my challenge and Maxwell nde kudai. I know you mentioned 2015. 7 years later, Muna 2022, he could not go on video achindiratidza even one drone, even yekutenga. Ndaida kutotenga, I genuinely wanted to buy one drone from him. Yeah. Or even to demonstrate to me on video and show me, look, this is a drone that I made. Look at this, Simba. This is the car that I made that you saw on SABC in 2015. Now, what he told me, and you see in the interview, is that that car, that blue car of 2015, is now dismantled. And he said, I dismantled it when I traveled to America. And then I asked him for the helicopter. He couldn't account for the helicopter. Number 5, I asked him for that generator that you said Iraria Rakaita power several houses. That is reported by those white Americans who had flown in and was said to be generating power to generate 300 houses. He told me with his own mouth it wasn't a generator at all. There was no green off-grid green power machine. He said that it was a lab test and it was something that he had borrowed or had hired from Masasa. He said that to me in my
Simba,
interview.
Simba, let me, let me, yeah, let me come in there, Simba.
No,
Let
no,
me
no,
come in,
Mfundisi, Mfundisi,
Simba.
Mfundisi, Trukutaura. Okay, sorry, brilliant, yeah. Yeah.
Let me come in there. I
Yeah.
think, like I said, and then I had a chance to speak with. I think before all these things had gone to the stage where they are now, because I'm talking here maybe 7, 8. I think in 2015 now, with 2025, so it's 10 years ago. 10 years ago or so. I think the mistake that a lot of our colleagues in the media do is, I think Pastor just touched on it a bit, because zvinoitika zvacho ndezvekuti Maxwell does not say, I created a helicopter. Neither does he say, I created a car. He's talking about a technology that powers these vehicles. So a lot of times we keep saying, helicopter iya is yake. He's never said it is his. Kuti
Right.
motor iya is yake. There's already a car like this in China. No, 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 no. You're missing the point. The point is he's saying, instead of running with fuel, I have a device that I'm putting there. I just look at the motor. The look at the chino power ningi motor iyi kuti ifambe. So I see a lot of debates and a lot of things that are happening and
Okay.
are being said. And this, I blame our colleagues in the media for not being able to articulate this and say, this guy is not saying he created a helicopter. This guy is not saying he created a car. It's this technology. That's what we need to interrogate.
Right. Okay. So thank you, brilliant, for pointing that to me. But
Mm,
quickly, in as much as what you say, he
yeah,
actually does mention the green power off grid machine. I'm using his exact language, right?
yeah, yeah.
In his 2016 interview with these white Americans, where Pastor Katsande is saying he was, as this is very pastor, he actually did have a machine that he invented. He not a machine that he borrowed, correct?
No, he didn't. He didn't borrow the machine.
Or hire a machine.
The machine. He made the machine.
Right.
There are certain things in the machine, like for example, simbiano notenga kumbare ogadzira frame. Zvimwe zvimaplug zvekuti anotsanangura achiti chakati ndakachitenga kwakati chakati ndakachitenga kwakati.
Oh, absolutely. Well, do you know what? Pastor? Do you know what, Pastor? Computer chayo. And you see a laptop, right? If you rip it apart, you see outside it says Acer or it says Compaq. When you rip it apart, you see a Toshiba hard drive in there. You will see an Intel microchip. okay, or you see an AMD processor, right? When you take a Macintosh, right, an Apple computer, right? If you rip it apart, you see exactly the same components, just about. I think we've lost him,
Mm.
right? You see the same, just about the same components, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, I just got cut across, but I don't know
Yes.
what
So
happened.
I was saying that if you rip apart an Apple computer, an Apple laptop, you will see the
Yeah.
same components that you see in a computer. When you close it up,
Yes.
all you see is something that's really nice that you could actually pay 2,000, 3,000 US for. And yet, ukavhura mukati,
Absolutely.
unoona koinga nai takavharwa panapa. Yeah. And it happens also
Yeah.
even with cars, that you can actually see many times. If you open it, you can see, oh, this is a BMW engine. Oh, this is, yeah. Or a VW. I know
Exactly.
VW a lot. Pinda moma engines, right? In other cars. But then here is the challenge with Maxwell. Even that, where is the green power machine? Let's just assume that you assembled this out of parts that you picked from Masasa, parts that you imported from South Africa or from wherever. Where is the machine? Number one, iri kupi machine iyoyo. Yeah, because you
The
did
machine.
say, yeah, you did state on video that you have made this machine, right? Whether or not this machine has been put together through other things, where is it? And these were his exact words to me. I never powered 300 houses. That that
That is
that
correct.
yeah, that video, yeah, that is correct, correct. Yeah. So then he said, look, what
Yeah.
we saw, and he also told me point blank that he cannot demonstrate electricity to me at all. Even, even, even to power car radio. You know, my radio is and just to get some small device. Tingoijunga junga timboona kuti even yakatsva tobva tazwa kuti ipower. He cannot do that. He said that to me on the phone. I was about to bring. I've got a lot of devices that are still there in Harare. You know well. You know where I lived, Pastor Katsand. So I wanted to use my own and just say, chingondisirawo, in this device, ndimboonao electricity yacho. He told me point blank, if I do that, I will get arrested. That's what he told me. And I said to him, dude, I've lived in that area, Kunana Bluffy, Wikoko. I grew up. A part of my childhood, my teenage was in that area. And I used to do that. I used to test devices. You're telling me, you yourself, considering your closeness to number one and number two of the country, that we see you in pictures and the like, you can't test a small device. What you're telling me now is inconsistent with what has just been happening. And when we see him with number one on that video, number one actually says, I've been supporting him from day one. Did you hear him, Pastor Kassad?
Uh,
Number one actually said,
I may have skipped that. Yeah.
yes, number one actually says, I've been supporting this young man from day one. So, so, what?
Yeah. So let me
So there's
let me explain that
inconsistency there.
also.
And then let me also go to another one here. Let's talk about the drone. Let's talk about the drone, Pastor Katsande. I also told him, "Ndakamuti nini, I just want to buy one drone." Now you failed to show me one drone because I just wanted to go per video. There's go press because if I just press video like what I did where na mai vamwe vakuru, if one time, in actual fact, she did that to me, not me to her. She wanted to be sure that she's talking right, and she then saw my face, right? Okay, right. So I said to him, "Why can't you do this? Why can't you just do a video? It's a drone video." You've told me. He actually told me the car was dismantled. I said, "Why would you dismantle such a wonderful car? That doesn't make sense, right?"
Yeah.
The helicopter, you've
Yeah.
told me it's no longer there, right? Called drone. What about the drone? Yeah, I just want to see on video. Ndingo now I don't want to steal your idea. Pastor, I just want to see, because like you can see, Pastor Kasande, I don't hate Christians myself. I am actually a Christian myself. I've got a very strong Christian background. You are a witness yourself, right? But one thing that I know about the Bible is that the Bible is not a book of theory. A Bible, everything that is in the Bible, it is accompanied with action. And the faith without works is dead. You can't have faith for 9 years and keep saying using the word God, right? And you can't demonstrate a single toothpick, right? Paul technology yamu Bible chayo yaitaurwa iya. Nana Moses iya. Yekuti God made this. It was demonstrated. I mean, even remember Elijah went to, it said Elijah went what? Up, right? Up the sky, up into space, in a spacecraft or in a chariot of fire, if you believe that, right? So it's technology that is demonstrable. Paul of Tarsus was not a theory man of theory, right? When he determined to work hard with his own hands, and he decided, look, I'm going to finance Basarang, right? Rekunyora Bible, rekunyora ma letters, nekudai. He started making tents. He didn't look for this. He did it practically. And that meant you could touch, and when you read his letters, you can tell that this guy, Malet Sampaya, akanyorwa ne munhu, I just say, who financed the writing of those letters? But my point is, there is always substance when someone speaks something. And so I struggle quickly with Maxwell. Another thing that I struggle with, Pastor Katsande, is this. When I spoke to him in 2022, he was proposing that Hubert Anjo be made the prime minister of Zimbabwe. And so yeah, he
Yes.
was actually doing that. And so it seemed to
Yes,
me that his greatest invention that I could at least prove, the one that I could at least ndengona kuchibata ichi chimwe sezvo ndazvitadza kuchibata izvo ndechekuti arikuda kuinventa a prime minister post.
wait,
Right? He's
wait.
invented a prime minister post, okay, for our country, for Hubert Angel to become the prime minister. Okay.
Wait, Simba,
And then he said,
in in in
yeah,
Maxwell's defense,
yeah,
I
in
will give you what I think was happening when you were talking to him.
yeah.
sorry, Pastor. Pastor
When
Gassad, before you speak,
Right.
sir, can I just
he says he has not powered 300 houses,
Yes.
it's very true. It's
Mhm.
very true.
Yes.
Because what Matt says,
Mhm.
is that mushini pakagadzirwa handida kuziva kuti akagadzira a half megawatt. Saka when he is explaining, that this half megawatt can power 300 houses. So not that he actually has taken the machine and he has plugged and he has powered the 300 houses. So he's being honest when he tells you, no, I'm shutting that power out 300 houses. So I think that's what I was saying, probably you're missing each other in communication.
Right.
And then the other issue is when you ask about where is the machine.
Yes.
The invention not the microsonic energy device. So the microsonic energy device is the secret invention so that is the secret. So that microsonic energy device, according to him, is industrial applicable in so many ways. You can put it in cars, you can put it to run trains. He actually is
To run trains. To run trains. Why doesn't he go and run the Greenwood? Remember the Greenwood Park train that we used to ride when we were kids? Greenwood in 4th Street.
Simba,
Ngano one small train kakambo tenderera kachirira vana vedu kuti vafare. Mm,
Let me come in, Pastor. With all due respect, I
mm,
just need to say a few things. And I think what I'm about to say is you said something that was very intriguing and very interesting at the very, very beginning. I don't know if the listeners would go back and remember this. I'm beginning to understand now that, okay, this Maxwell Chikumbutso guy is an inventor, and he perhaps does not think and see things the way that we see them. He's my journalist.
Yeah.
And as someone that has done PR for a long time, I think that this man, when I saw him speaking, when everything, he has so much information and knowledge that cannot be put into simple words. That's where I think he probably needs someone to do that for him. He can just do the inventions and everything else in the background. Explain this to someone that can then put it to the public for their understanding. Because PR chayoga ndio iruleka. Maonero wangu inine is a PR expert. PR, this guy is something. If we give him the benefit of doubt to then have these things explained, because it is easy for someone that is a journalist like you, Simba Chikanza, to corner this guy and make him lose his lines completely because that's not his thing. Talking might not be his thing, but creating and making things may be his thing. So he could simply say things that we could say, sakawa what this meant like and now but I think the key thing here that we need to get to the bottom of is what has Maxwell Chikumbutso got? Ane chicha nacho chari kuti ainventa chinichi. Tofamba nacho icho and support it as best as we can and get it interrogated to prove either those that are in the outside world, Mamoma engineers and every other person that's out
mm.
there, so that we can say in Zimbabwe we have someone that has done this. Because if
But
us as
ipapoka,
Zimbabweans,
mfundisi.
tikatanga
Mm,
isusu, because tinonetsa chacho, I want to come to this point, Simba, and I know you and I have always agreed and disagreed strongly on some other things. Panozonetsa manje, ndepekuti we take things personally when someone starts doing things and interacting with people. And that sometimes when you mix with the wrong people, the minute you start saying you want Angel to do this, there's people that are going to oppose you and think, Rasika, or I want him to be prime minister. And politically, what was sanganisa sangan.
okay, right. So quickly, thank you. So quickly, folks. Pastor, let's get down to zero. Totis to 0-1. Okay. Why are we here? Why are we here? Trukwite, we are here to debate. We are here to debate whether Maxwell Chikumbutso is an inventor or not. Correct? Is it possible, Pastor? Is it possible, and is it credible for someone to call themselves an inventor and they don't have a patent?
It's very
Well,
possible.
he explains his part
Explains
about
what?
that. I think he has explained it over and over. Kuti chinhu chake chinoclassified as a perpetual motion device, and therefore it is very difficult to patent. And then he says also because it violates one of the laws of physics of thermodynamics.
Pastor,
That makes it very
Pastor,
complicated.
Pastor. Let's get that. Let's. Thank you. I appreciate for that explanation. So let's get that basic right. I was supposed to start with one, the most important one. It was on his name, right? Because Zdarake is not Maxwell Chikumbutso, it's actually Sangolani's Chikumbutso. Do you agree?
Yes, and it's Maxwell Sangulani Chikumbutso.
Yeah, but do we know why he changed? He put Maxwell on his name.
No, he never changed because I think that's how we call it.
Right. When he was at court, when he had his court issues, which he still has, he has been referred to as Sangulani.
Yes. But in Komasimba,
Mhm.
people have got names.
Yeah, well, just like me, I've got another name. I've got another name, which you might not be aware, but that other pastor that I was working with, Mazugoreraria, knows that other name. But do you know what? I will not add that name at any time. And if I do, people should also ask me, why am I adding it now? So Sangulani, when he was, did he tell you that he's out on bail for armed robbery?
Out on bail of what?
For armed robbery.
No, I didn't come to discuss that. I don't know.
Okay, right. So these are, so I know this might be a shock. I'm gonna send you some documents right now so you can actually see them. They're very short, small, right? These are court documents. Sangulani Chikumbutso is actually out on bail right now for armed robbery, and one of the guns that was used in the armed robbery, which included one of Murefu service station, belongs to his, and it's an unlicensed firearm, so it's untraceable.
What I know about that issue, Komasimba, I think it could have happened in the outside, but what I know is he was acquitted of that issue.
Can you show me the acquittal document?
No, that's why I say I came to discuss his innovations.
I see. No, do you know why? Because someone who innovates, my point is, you know what? My point is, someone who is innovating, right, is bringing us an innovation, could actually be doing other innovations, could actually be inventing something into our minds right now. That is not an innovation, that is an invention of another kind. Because they could easily, just like in this country, Pastor, the gentleman who worked with Cecil John Rhodes, using the Bible, quoting great scriptures to the kings and the chiefs who were the lords of Zimbabwe, and they used their proximity to the kings like Lobengula and the like to wrongly translate, and misrepresent documents, making them to sign contracts that would cede the country. They were not pastors. They were playing so many roles. So someone is a pastor, a great pastor. I don't think, Reverend Jaguti Jaguti, talking great English, right? Great London English, and of course Sindebele or Shona fluently, but they're playing 3 or 4 roles at the same time. They are a reverend who's traveled from America. They're a missionary coming to Africa, bringing the Bible from London. At the same time, they are also employees of a mining company that was coming from South Africa, right? Number three, they are also interpreters. That's another role also. They're paid to interpret, right? Because they can speak the local languages better than the other Europeans. Number four, is it number four or number five? They have another role. So my point is, a person could actually be inventing something else. That is not the car or the microsonic device. But that's why I to ask Kuti, nyai armed robbery because the latest documents that we have that are in the court records, which even State House, and I think you noticed, Pastor, that State House ended up deleting those tweets that they had uploaded, because they then discovered that the latest court documents show that Maxwell is actually still out on armed robbery, and he is still regarded by the courts of Zimbabwe as a flight risk. So perhaps the reason why he can't fly a drone from Harare to Cape Town, as a certain politician said on video, is not so much that the drone can, or the helicopter cannot fly. No, no, it's because he himself is regarded by the laws of Zimbabwe as a flight risk. Anobvatiza
Simba,
akabhururuka nendege iyoyo
Simba,
haazodzoki maibata.
Simba, mira Simba. Ngatibatsire mfundisi, because waisa mfundisi pa tight corner. I know he can maneuver himself out of this one.
You need to see the
But
documents. I'm sorry, I'm sending you now, Pastor.
yeah, waisa mfundisi pa tight corner Simba. Taura chidai so.
Um,
I need to catch up a flight. So
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate what you are bringing, what you are saying.
Mhm.
But I think my motivation of reaching out to you was to just bring in the other side of me being an eyewitness to
to certain, yeah.
claims and the projects that we have done. So I think my objective would be fulfilled by us zeroing on that and debating.
No, you know what? That is really appreciated. You know what, Pastor? What you have just done is to help us to have a background, because I wasn't aware that you actually know. And I think after the video call, we can actually talk and share notes. Myself personally, I would like Maxwell to reach out to me the same way I did I said to him 3 years ago. A problem with the Maxwell, Pastor. Maxwell is not transparent. I've helped a lot of innovators. One of the innovators who I helped myself with my own money, right, is a young man who ended up owning the largest cryptocurrency company in Zimbabwe. That company that RBZ started fighting, remember? Tawanda Kembo. Yes. Golix, the one that Mahere represented in the like and the like. I actually gave that young man £600 of my own money because I believed in him. I gave him when he was fired in 2012. So over 14 years ago, I gave him that money. And do you know what? That money helped that young man because he was transparent to me. He told me what he can do. He was a software programmer. He was this. And did you know he had this other website that he was running that wasn't, it was just it was like a high school thing. I told him, young man, I'll give you this money. And on that day, he didn't even have money for Kukira Kombi from Chitungiza, where he was living, right, to come into the capital city. And that young man became the largest cryptocurrency owner. I've used my own money, Pastor. Even Brian Aldrich, Foundations for Farming. Yeah, Brian Aldrich will tell you his innovation before it was on ZBC, before it was on Herald, it was on Zimai first. Zim-I. You get me? So that is how much I believe in our people and the potential. The challenge with Maxwell Chikumbutso is, number one, he's not transparent, and number two, he's not honest. He's not telling the truth that he can't get a patent, because I have helped a lot of one Zimbabwean that I assisted in the UK, who was struggling because of papers and all sorts, and business was not working, has got over 4 patents, Pastor. 4 patents. Former patents. Yeah.
But he's choosing the trade secret route.
No, Pastor. Akuna trade secret, right? If it's a patent, it will be protected. It's still a secret. The young man is not telling the truth. You can't say you are an inventor and you don't have a patent, because the first thing that you would do before you sleep tonight, if I've invented this thing, Pastor, you see, this is a patent. I helped a lad, Anonzi, you can Google him, Wellington Anonzi Wellington Chaparadza, right? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Wolverhampton Ukuk, he had my products, ake, Murgundinzo pasta. My cleaning products, he was innovative. And you know what? Very raw, because he had never worked in this industry, but he was just like so innovative. Do you know what, Pastor? I went there to Wolverhampton. I went on live camera. I looked at his products. I demonstrated on live camera. I'll send you. That's my devotion to the Zimbabwean people. After that, Pastor, I advertised. Within minutes, Wellington started getting orders from all over the world. People started calling him. I want to order this. I want to order that. Google Wellington Chaparadza and you see how much coverage I gave him. Do you know what? It wasn't just that. Do you know how much Wellington didn't just obtain news coverage from Simba Chikanza? Do you know what else? He even obtained money from Simba Chikanza. Do you know how much, Pastor? 4,000 British pounds. Marwadziro aneta mari. How difficult money, right, is in the UK, right?
Thank you for doing that, What I was
so
let me sum up myself by saying this.
Yes.
I think I really appreciate you asking those key questions.
Yes.
But in my conclusion, I would say that whatever I've said is based on eyewitness, not that
what you saw. No, that is really appreciated.
I also appreciate you saying what you're saying. whether Marx has got some issues, but one principle I would want to say is that there is no dustbin for a human being. God can use the worst dirty person to bring in solutions that can actually help the world.
But vanhu ngavataure chokwadi vabatsirwe
Let's approach him with that love. No, I'm serious.
Dai takatompa mari izoso pastor mwana wenyuka mfana wenyuka dai akataura chokwadi. Let me tell you, we wouldn't have just given him money. Ndakupa example yevanhu ava. These guys have even received money. Muri kunzwisisa? Mari chaiyo from one single news coverage. Muri kunzwisisa? Mari chaiyo kutobudisa mari kutoti iwo tora mari iyoyo. Muri kundinzwa? That is how devoted we are. We don't destroy our people. We don't destroy talent. We are promoters of, that's what we do. Otherwise, then it's negative horror news. The difference between Zimai Pastor, Nana, ZBC and the like, Zimai in investment in people, in that the focus. That is what we are. It's the same thing even if you bet Anjo Vai. Pavaitama game our Brilliant will tell you. We want to help you. We've seen what you do. You're doing this. We'll cover this. Do you know what? Then when we discovered this, these guys were not transparent. They were dodgy. They were claiming they were doing miracle money, that they were healing people. Vana Coppers van Rensbeek, Veku South Africa, look, you've just done a miracle. Look, I would like to cover this in the news. But the way I know it's done in the scriptures, in the Bible, right? You heal someone, you get a doctor, and an independent doctor, and it's an independent doctor who is even agnostic, right? And we've got these people who are experts that they can prove, and look, something really truly has happened, which is scientific here. Just like it is done when Jesus healed that person, and check one GP, a general practitioner, na priest, right? Also pure signature, so that kuna mwari. So Maxwell Chikumbutso should stop using God's name. When he can't give, he should stop, because he's not operating. Munu kana win something, and that proves like that. The proof is in the evidence. It's in the pudding, right? You said that, look, you believe in God, like even the Bible says, and you can't say you believe in God.
And I think we are getting closer to really get into the ultimate conclusion. So I would say that let's keep it at that. But in the event you talk to him, be friendly. I mean,
Pastor Katsande, go and check my interviews with all these people, including Maxwell Chikumbutso, and you'll see how friendly I was. The young man has received so much support from me of all people. He will tell you that. One problem with him, unlike all the others that I have assisted, even with my own money, that I should be feeding my family, right? Maxwell Chikumbutso is not honest. He is not telling the truth that he invented something and he doesn't have a patent. That is a lie. And he's also not telling the truth about his criminal past. In actual fact, it's criminal past and present, because he is still on bail right now. You should just be transparent. Taura chokwa about yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Taura chokwadi unobatsirwa. Pastor Katsandeka, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people, a young man who have been in crime. I think you have seen them, who have been deep in crime. We have assisted. There's a young man who was 3 years in jail. Brilliant, you know him. 3 years in jail. I can't in 2012. Simba, I've just come out of prison. Ndoita say, nda aku deportwa. You know, Simba, I need to be given a second chance.
Pastor, I used my own money. I used my name. I used my resources to get that young man to be restored in society. Right now, if you Google his criminal past, you can't even see a trace of his own crimes convicted of. Do you know what, Pastor? That is the devotion that we have to help people, right? Get into society, rehabilitated, get into society, right? And change, feed their families, and also contribute to the country. But when young men have been deep in crime, and then they come to us and they claim to be inventors of something that that is. Yeah.
Sorry,
Simba. Did you speak to his lawyer? I think the lawyer I would represent about Kesiage. I mean, this is why I was saying validating facts is important.
No,
did you ever speak to his lawyer to confirm whether he has a pending case or he has got a case that is not pending?
Okay,
assuming Simba.
Yes,
assuming, yeah, because we can cross check all this. What we need to do, because I know you, Simbaguti, deep down you care for all the people, but in the end, assuming that we keep an open mind and that this Maxwell is indeed an inventor. Yes, everybody makes mistakes. Let's assume there's this case that is there. Even though if there's a case, if he is indeed an inventor, it doesn't take away from his invention, because he may be onto something that is bigger than anything that we've ever seen on this earth. If indeed this invention, he can convert power from radio waves, this is by far the biggest invention that we'll ever have. Let's not push this away, but give this a chance to say, let's interrogate this, find out that this thing that he's saying is invented is indeed an invention. If it is, then Zimbabwe is onto something. But tikati tuvatamita criminal, we are taking away something bigger than what we've ever seen in the world. Saka
but brilliant mwana ngaudzwe. The point of filing a patent is to promote trade secrets. Usanyepere vanhu kuti hanzi nini, if I file my patent, then my trade secrets are going to be public. That is a lie, right? You know, there's no way, right?
But Simba, what we don't want to do.
The reason why people file a patent,
Simba.
Because at the moment you can't say that, because a patent is a piece of paper.
No, a patent is not a piece of paper, Pastor. A patent is not a piece of paper.
Let's put it this way.
What I meant to say was, like when people say, do you think a paper can drive a car? So what I'm saying is this. If the approach is not to say you are lying because you don't have a patent.
No.
You rather qualify that statement by saying you are lying because your products do not work.
But
where I'm coming from.
In any Pastor, myself.
Let's put it this way. Let's put it this way, guys. Let's put it this way, Pastor. Let's put it this way. And then wanna tell you to discuss kuti pane invention, pana inventor, pane zvagat. I think if we break it down, you gave an analogy of a food, that if you're eating this and eating that. So if, for example, let's just say today we try and just digest one part, because starter ne main meal ne dessert. Saka pane zvinhu zvatofana kuti patsanure kuti for the ease of understanding of our people, the Zimbabweans, atauya kuti tizotaurira kuti vanzwisise zvinhu izvi. Tikadzoka tikadiscussa nyaya yepatent iri yega, kuti patent zvinomborevei, what is this, how does one get a patent? Because there could be someone out there that could also be in the same predicament, anogona kutobatsirikawo. Tikataura nyaya idzi tikadzisanganisa dzese, it becomes difficult for people to follow kuti nyaya yacho chaiyo ndeyekuti chii. Saka tikatanga tataura kuti right, tatanga tataura nyaya tikataura nyaya dzake dzese tikadzisanganisa ka1 kuti inventor Yes, and simba wazoya nenyaya kuti iwo waisa pasta pakona apa because wangoti pane nyaya iyi yecrime itori mumakotsi izvezvi anogona kuita flight risk. That's a different story for a different day. Ngatidzipasanire tange tati nhasi tava nestart
because you know
tozoita main meal tozoita
murikuona
dessert
kuti
yacho zoita
munhu
separate meal.
uyu isusu pamaxwell arikuda rubatsiro handitika arikuda
Yes.
support,
Yes.
right? Number one. Number two, victims of armed robbery avava maworkers ekumapetrol stations aya akaredwa aya nepfuti yakaprova kuti ndeyamaxwell chikumbutso aya arikudawo support. They also need our support. So regaindipedze ipapo. We need to protect here the same way
Yes.
that we need to protect and promote Maxwell Chikumbutso, right? Victims of armed robbery. You know, armed robbery is not easy, brother. This is not just robbery. This is not like you losing a wallet, right?
I hear you.
Mate, this is a gun. This is a gun in the head, dude, right?
I hear you.
Right? Manamurefu service station, Vana total service station, right? And a gun that is unlicensed, that is probably on the markets, on the streets right now. And by the way, the gun is brilliant. 2 seconds. Pane, there are families of people who have died suspiciously when they have gotten close to Maxwell Chikumbutso. One of them is Genius Kadungure, right? Genius Kadungure's family.
Simba, we inini newe Simba inini newe tiri ma journalists, right? As a journalist, sorry, Pastor. As a journalist, right, it's very important to tell a story, to run a thread. To conclude, because it becomes it takes a different tangent because patatanga ne pachazo no pereraga a personal conclusion. But no teachers and that we can break this into parts and discuss one part at a time for the benefit of those listening so that they can follow, because some of them would come in and you there's a whole barrage of new information that takes away from whatever it is that we had begun with. My inventions, it takes away from all that, and now the focus is somewhere else. I understand with the pani issue crime that can come on a different day. At least so let's take it one part at a time so that it is easier for those that are following this story to follow it. It's easy for me and you to get into this because Tinema facts Emma stories are in addition to what we're talking about.
I see your jurisdiction, Yangu Simba. That's not my jurisdiction.
Mfundisi, we're all in the jurisdiction of safeguarding. Do you agree? Safeguarding is everyone's duty. Whenever there is potential to harm or to hurt another member of the public, you and I have got a duty to do everything possible to prevent harm, and that includes documenting and being diligent at the documenting as well. So you just don't support me, Pastor, because because I used to come and play keyboard at your church, at your organization there, right? If you hear that there's a propensity that Simba Chikanza could be a danger to society, you would do your best to try and protect other people from Simba Chikanza and perhaps try and get Simba Chikanza rehabilitated, isn't it, Pastor?
Yeah, that's very true. And this is why Simba, I decided to say, look, here are two people that I know, and I have certain facts that Simba may not actually have about this young man. And so the intention for me to reach out was not to really. So the intention for me to reach out was not really to but was for me to help you see what I have seen and what I've heard, and in that way help you to also have the other perspective, so that when you are approaching the matter, you are actually approaching the matter from a balanced perspective and a balanced view. So that is the spirit, and that's why I reached out. But anyway, Simba, I really want to thank you, because I'm in between connected flights, and we can keep on talking. Just review the document I've just forwarded to you.
Can I have the full document, please? Can whoever sent you, can they send me the full document, the full, please? That is just a cover sheet that anyone can create.
Yeah. So okay, that's okay. I thought that's what I got. So
I see. No. Panto diwa cover. Panto diwa the full verdict, and then yeah. No, but whoever gave you that document in Fundisandika should give you this is the bundle, right? So when a judge passes a decision, right? So there's a bundle, and the bundle it's an enclosure of everything that makes up and the basis for that verdict. And so if we could get that, please, yeah, because the reason why I'm saying yeah. Right. So the reason why
that's like I said, yeah. I'm saying, Simba, I'm not standing in for all the other things.
Yes. No, I understand. I understand. The reason why I asked for that, whoever sent you that, ask them for the full bundle so that I can peruse that bundle, because that document, anyone can create that document. And also, it is let me finish. That document is also inconsistent with the court registry records. And I have got the full database, Yeku Court, and that document doesn't exist in the repository, Yeku Court. That's what. Yeah.
What I think would be helpful, Simba, you can talk to his lawyer. His lawyer, you know him, Rubaya. You can get in touch with Rubaya and just say, because he's the lawyer. The lawyer will give you all the facts you need about this case. I think that would be the most.
Well, I think really it's up to him. Yeah, Maxwell. You know what, Pastor? Maxwell needs to be a truthful person. Maxwell knows, not you, because Imimi, you're someone out there who's just assisting him, right? And because Imimi, you're a pastor, right? You're just a pastor, but ndiye muridzi. But ndiye muridzi kawenyaya and arikuziva nyaya iripo ndiye safeguarding, pastor. Even if Maxwell Chikumbutso was acquitted, did you hear me? Clean 100, assuming that is true. He realizes the damage to people's mental health when they discover that he has had hold on. So he should realize how serious this is. This is no longer about nyaya of producing a patent or not producing a patent now. This is about nyaya of him proving that he's not a danger to society. Because quickly, Pastor, right now, what people are afraid of is what this young man is a militia who is playing multiple roles. And one of the roles that he has portrayed himself is that of an inventor, so that he can cover up his armed robbery activity. And everything about his so-called invention is just talk. It is a cover-up. He is let me finish. He's an artist so members of the public.
From my wife.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure. And so members of the public are afraid, Pastor. Don't you not so much insult. Maxwell. They're afraid of Maxwell Chikumbutso because it turns out, right, he does have a long record in armed robberies. So beyond just a cover document, it should be him. Ian the Anvandra phone. I appreciate you, Pastor, coming up, right? But you call Anvandra Kuya Egg or address Zimbabweans. And by the way, he must also address including the president of Akanya Zisao. Unless
Mawita unfair with me.
Oh, sorry. I want
Let's let the pastor
pastor.
go.
I appreciate you. I'm appreciating
Pastor.
you. I'm appreciating you zvamaita pastor. But ndiri kuti mukomana ikoyo mudzei kuti zvinhu zvaakaita izvi hazvisi zvidoko. Even if he is as clean as an angel from heaven, right? What he did, it has caused a scare to people. Zvatotyisa. Zvatomita kuti atyise. Aiwa ndipedze kamufundisi. Vanhu vakutomutya. People are afraid of the young man. That is the problem. Okay, thank you.
This thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I always put this.
This is our Zimbabwe, man.
I'm done. Put this.
No, nyaya yacho naka data karingoripona. Yeah, anototyisa mukomana. Anototyisa because why didn't he disclose that he's got charges the armed robbery? That he was found to be, it was proven at court that an unlicensed firearm that was used, right, in those robberies at Murefu Service Station belongs to him. Why didn't he disclose?
Here's the question.
Hold on, brilliant. Hold on.
I'm trying to get you to tie. I'm trying to get you to tie these loose ends. What is animal loose ends?
2 seconds. The only product that has been demonstrated by Maxwell Chikumbutso that he owns, that he can show Zimbabweans, is an unlicensed firearm used in armed robberies. There's no drone, there's no car, there's no green power machine, there's no microsonic whatever this device, right? It's an unlicensed firearm that was proven to belong to him, and it has been used in armed robberies of petrol stations. That is the real definition of who Maxwell Chikumbutso is. And that is, if you're going to say that he has introduced something to the human family, right, to the world, it is that unlicensed firearm, because it has been proven.
Okay.
That's the only thing that you could claim a patent for.
Let's slow it down. But there's something that is hanging. You left a very heavy cloud hanging up there.
Shoot.
At some point during this conversation, you introduced the death of Jinimbi, Genius Kadunguri, and you said because now that's a loose end that you've just let there. That we need to see, how does this tie into what we're talking about? Was this just something that you said random, or
what I'm saying is armed robbers, right? Armed robbers are very good at orchestrating. They're well known for orchestrating accidents, right? Fake accidents. If armed robbers are used to kill, right? And so it's easy. And by the way, I actually have got complaints from family members and friends of Genius Kadungure over Maxwell Chikumbutso. That's why I was saying there. In as much as Maxwell Chikumbutso, as well as Maxwell Chikumbutso needs support, as is being said by the pastor, the family and friends of Genius Kadungure also need support.
No, but what you're saying there, Simba, to the listening audience right now, people that are listening and watching us right now, they may be as confused as I am to say, okay, how does this tie in?
Right.
Because you've just dropped, this is like you've just dropped a bomb here and said you've dropped the Genius Kadungure issue, and we're trying to see how does this connect with Chikumbutso?
Well, because he became a friend, right, of Genius Kadungure, and before Genius died, in the last few months, okay, if not weeks, of Genius Kadungure's life, Maxwell Chikumbutso suddenly become friends, and also Maxwell Chikumbutso announced on Facebook that Genius is now the chairman of his company, of his Saith company. This company of inventions that don't exist, and that position is the same position that was formerly occupied by who? By that pastor who died, that previous pastor who supposedly died of poisoning. After also the pastor had poured in $120,000 into his fake invention business. So we've got two people here who have died, right? That are known, we've died in very, very suspicious circumstances, even per his own words, Maxwell. Soon after, donating money into Maxwell Chikumbutso's fake invention business.
Wow. You know what?
And the only invention that Maxwell Chikumbutso has demonstrated, the only product that he has, that he has shown the world and said, look, this is what I own, right? The only invention, right, is a handgun. I wish I could put a gun. Yeah, is a handgun. Sorry, excuse me, an unlicensed gun. To the courts, it's been proven that Maxwell Chikumbutso is the owner of an unlicensed gun that was used in armed robberies. That's the only product that Maxwell Chikumbutso. And so I'm taking this bit by bit, and that's why I've been wondering
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The thing is, hear me out here, Simba.
Yeah,
it's like you have 100 stories in your head.
In you.
You have 100 stories in your head,
right?
That all make sense to you because you've heard them, you've analyzed them. The issue now is when you are talking and trying to articulate one, the way that you bring in another one and another one and another one, the person listening is like, whoa, Simba, Simba Baskoro,
You know what? Right? The thing is,
we can't keep up because we're thinking we have to cycle faster because you're actually driving and you are telling the story.
I think my problem is my problem is this. My senior brother in the industry, Ruben Barwe at ZBC, spent about 15 minutes with Maxwell Chikumbutso. I didn't spend 15 minutes. I didn't spend five hours. I spent 5 hours in the last week. Last week, I spent 5 hours with him, right? A total of 5 hours. But I actually spent 3 years talking to Maxwell Chikumbutso. I've got that much data on Maxwell. And so I can tell, perhaps arguably, the most complete story at my level, at least.
So
than what ZBC did. ZBC, which went with my cameras, I'm going to film my state house.
Here's how I can suggest we go forward with this. Imagine this, right? Because I like using imagery and analogies. Imagine this. Imagine a kitchen roll, like paper towel. You have a whole roll of news, information, and all sorts of things that you have there within that role. So the way that we are supposed to give this to the people, because you are now sort of report, because all this, when it's rolled up, it's ported there. Now you have to report this and give this to the public in chunks that they are able to understand, comprehend, and make sense of. Saka chatangoda neje you just roll out one piece at a time. Don't just throw the whole bundle at us because we won't make sense of it. So this is the thing that we're saying. There's a lot here to go through. Maybe we can do a whole series coming up, starting from how these whole things connect, because it's like there's a whole dotted piece of art in front of us. We need to join up these dots and paint a picture that's clear to the public so that the people that are listening know, okay, how does this relate? Nyayo Wakanda Genius Kadungure, how about the other pastor that you're saying threw in, donated this money and died soon after? People might not have this information. So the picture that they have of Maxwell is that which they have been getting from mainstream media, like the recent pictures that we saw of this guy, Arigu State House. And the assumption that we all have is that for someone to go that close to number one, they would have had to have had their background checked. They would have had to be of clean actions in mind. And so people would not conclude immediate kuti this guy is a danger to anyone because he seems to be hobnobbing and rubbing shoulders with
Did I lose you?
Oh dear, I think I've lost you. Brilliant. Brilliant, seems I've lost you totally. Is it me who's lost internet? I think I've lost Brilliant here. Okay, right. Thank you. So Shama Samanyanga. There obviously says there's a pastor called Raika Sunday who connected with us. He's been contacting us for some days. And I think I've lost okay. So brilliant. It's been really interesting that we managed to connect with Pastor Katsande there, and Pastor Katsande contacted me. I'm just doing a roundup because I need to dash off. I've got a meeting. Yeah. So Pastor Katsande has been contacting for some days, and he's been wanting to talk to me, and he's saying, "Look, I'm bashing MAXWELL Chikumbutso," and he said that he knows MAXWELL. MAXWELL was once a member of his church. And so he was claiming that MAXWELL Chikumbutso needs support. MAXWELL Chikumbutso is the so-called inventor. Went to State House recently after spending 9 years claiming that he's invented a car, a drone, a helicopter, and a generator that powers a car that drives forever, non-stop without charging, a helicopter that flies forever.
You're cynical.
A drone, mate. You know what? As much as I actually want the way I want drones, because I need drones for my work, mate. You know what? I actually want to buy a drone. I should have, if there was such, I would have bought 2 or 3 drones that at least will be flying forever all over Zimbabwe and giving me news, non-stop news.
So at least what we can do is there's a lot to talk about. Like I'm saying, you've invested a lot of time and gathered a lot of information. And the trouble sometimes is when we have so much information, we tangle it up in the effort to tell it. So that's why I'm saying let's do a series where we break this down bit by bit, and we go through the things that you picked up along this long period of time when you were actually engaging and talking to this guy. So if we chapter this, it's like writing a book, really. We have to chapter it. Just get the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Let's put it chunk by chunk, because right now it's as if we're trying to get the public to eat an apple in one go. An apple is eaten one bite at a time. We chew, we digest, we chew, we swallow, we chew, we swallow, and that's what we want to do. Let's eat this story as it were an apple.
Wow, brilliant. Let's close. And thank you very much to Pastor Katsande also for coming up. This just helps for us to have a healthy discussion from all corners, and that's what news should be. News should not be opinion; it should be facts. Okay, thank you so much. Here we go. Here's a clip of a certain pastor who is called Andrew Taunashe at Christmas, and he was saying that Zim-I always attacks me every time. And I don't know. And then he says they must change their name from Zim-I to Zim-Owl.
It's not an eye.
Profits boys trembling with dread. See my none of the watch your windows, stayed empty and dirty. Profits boys trembling with dread. See my bitch me daily. He said, none of the watch your windows, stayed empty and dirty. Profits boys trembling with dread. See my bitch me daily. He said, none of the watch your windows, stayed empty and dirty. Profits boys trembling with dread. See my bitch me daily. He said, none of the Profits boys trembling with dread. See my bitch me daily. He said, none of the watch your windows, stayed empty and dirty. Profits boys trembling with dread. See my bitch me daily. He said, none of the watch your windows, stayed empty and dirty.